Hey everyone, welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. I've been a little under the weather lately, but I feel I have enough of my voice back to get this volume out. As Jax and I roll out Amber's then best friend Raquel Pennington's 2016 deposition in live presentations, I want to put a bow on Amber's 2016 deposition as well. As promised, I've been releasing it in volumes, combining two parts of our live presentations into these 4 volumes, without interruptions or commentary, so you can view them on your own from start to finish, this last volume combining parts 7 and 8. Obviously, if you enjoy the commentary and want information and context, I would encourage you to watch the live replays, which are all in playlist on my channel. For those following along, Discovery recently hit me with yet another copyright claim on my content, which I own outright. Not sure why this keeps happening, to be honest. The most recent was Volume 3, which I initially uploaded as a private video, yet they found a way to copyright claim it still. And instead of the usual claim, in which viewers could still watch the video while they wrongfully take the monetization for it, this one actually blocked the video entirely from being viewable. Thankfully, they lifted it after just a few days, and I'm hoping this volume is fully viewable the moment I publish it. In this volume, you'll finally see Amber Heard stumble over details of the May 2016 incident, and at last be questioned about the reality that she herself was the physically abusive one in the relationship. You'll see her dodge questions, snack while buying time to answer questions, and sometimes flat out smile while listening to audio of her admitting to punching Johnny Depp in the face. So without further ado, I want to thank you all again for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and hit that notification bell for new content if you'd be so kind. And here we go with Volume 4.
This marks the beginning of media number 4 in the video deposition of Amber Depp. The time is approximately 5:30 p.m. and we're back on the record.
Ms. Heard, you were discussing your claims that Johnny Depp threw a phone on May 21, 2016, and thereafter grabbed your hair.
Yes.
I just wanted to reorient you to where we left off.
Thank you.
Prior to you saying Mr. Depp doing that on May 21, 2016, had you ever discussed with Io Tillett Wright anything or made any claim to her that you'd been abused by Johnny Depp?
I talked to her about a little bit of the violence, yeah.
You'd specifically told her about violence?
Yeah.
And your other friend, Elizabeth Mars, had you ever discussed with her prior to May 21 that there had been violence between you and Johnny?
I don't think so.
And
I don't
how-
remember ever
okay.
speaking to her about that.
Okay, and how about any other person? Did you tell any other person other than your mother prior to May 21 that Johnny had been violent with you?
Yes.
Who?
Well, Raquel Pennington's fiance, Josh, had been in the room when I would either come over or when either I would go over to theirs or they would come over to mine immediately.
So you told Josh?
Immediately preceding an incident, and I would still be bloody or bruised or they would overhear, or they would, you know.
Did you tell Josh that that Johnny had been physically violent with you?
I think Josh was in the room when Raquel and I would be talking about it, or Josh would walk in with Raquel immediately after an incident had occurred where it was clear.
Objection, move to strike. It's a yes or no question.
Oh,
Did
so
you
sorry.
ever tell Josh Drew prior to May 21 that Johnny had been violent with you physically?
I didn't have to tell Josh. Josh saw.
The answer is no, correct? You had
Wait.
never told him prior to May 21.
Argumentative.
Correct.
Let her answer the question.
Is that
Listen to the question and answer that question.
I don't recall specific times of telling Josh specifically.
okay? Any other person that you specifically claimed Johnny had been violent with you prior to May 21?
Yes.
Who?
Melanie.
Melanie Iglesias? Okay. Who else?
But I didn't have to tell her much. Melanie walked in once.
Did you tell her anything?
I don't remember what I told Melanie, but Melanie helped clean up blood and hair.
When was that?
December.
December
Melanie cleaned, actually covered my bruises for an appearance I had following an incident where I had 2 black eyes and a busted nose and a busted lip, and she covered the busted lip. My hairstylist had twice, on 2 different occasions, covered up bruises and or missing chunks
Did
of
you
missing
tell
hair.
your hairstylist?
I did not.
Did you tell any other person your claim that Johnny had been violent prior to May 21?
Just think, take it slowly. She's asking for a narrative, so think about it.
No, I'm asking for a yes or no answer,
That's-
Ms. Hurd. Prior to May 21, did you tell any other person besides your mom and besides, I think you said Raquel, did you tell Raquel prior to May 21 that you were claiming that Johnny had been violent with you? Any other person other than your mom, Raquel, and Melanie Iglesias? Did you tell Melanie Iglesias?
I don't recall having to tell her. I don't recall to what extent, but yes.
You did tell her.
Yeah, she saw. So I didn't really have to
Whether-
explain.
Okay. Whether or not she saw, did you ever tell her?
I confirmed.
Meaning you spoke words to her about Johnny having been violent with you?
I confirmed what she could deduce
How did you confirm it?
by crying and not denying what she said she realized is going on.
So
in my
isn't it the
relationship.
truth you never used any words to describe any claim that Johnny had been violent with you with this woman?
That's wait, stop. That is misstating her testimony, Blair, and it's argumentative and it's harassing. Ask your question and give her some space to answer your question.
Ms. Hurd,
you're
in-
asking her to go back in time and recall things, and she needs a moment to do that. And I know you want to rush through this, but she needs a moment to think about these things.
Did you use words to tell any other person that Johnny Depp had ever been violent with you prior to May 21, 2016?
Yes.
Who?
Among the other people I've listed, I confirmed it to my dad, who saw a picture of my face on my mom's cell phone.
When did he see that picture?
December.
December 2015?
Yes.
Okay. And you told him that Johnny had been violent with you?
It was the first time I ever admitted that to my father. And I used the words, Johnny beat the shit out of me. And I had never heard myself admit that to my dad before.
You told your father in December of 2015 that Johnny beat the shit out of you.
He called livid on the way he was getting in his truck to come to LA because he saw pictures on my mom's phone.
Did you tell your
It's a
father?
yes or no question. You answer yes or no.
Yes, I did.
You did. Okay. Did you tell any other person or claim to any other person that Johnny had been violent with you prior to May 21?
Yes.
Who?
Amanda de Cadenet, after she asked me.
When did she ask you?
She asked me on several occasions.
When was the last time prior to May that she asked you?
I can't remember a specific date that she asked me, but I certainly confirmed it at her birthday party when she caught me trying to put makeup over my bruises.
Ms. Hurd, on May 21, as a result of you saying that Johnny threw a cell phone at you, did that cell phone make contact with you at any time?
Yes, it did.
Where did it make contact with you specifically?
On my face.
Where on your face specifically?
What felt like my eye, around my eye.
Can you point to where it made contact as you sit here today?
It felt like right around the side of my. It felt like the side of my face and cheek. Felt like my side of my face and cheek. But in being pulled around by my hair, I somehow incurred some bruising on my body, and my
She's
head
focused on this part. That was the question. Listen to
sorry.
the question.
Where did you incur contact with the phone you say Johnny threw at you?
Asked and answered.
Can you point to the place on your face where you were saying the phone hit you?
It felt like the side of my right side of my face, around my eye.
Okay. Do you not have a specific memory of where it hit you?
Objection. She just said it.
I'm pointing to a specific part of my face.
Okay. What part of the phone hit your face?
I don't know.
Okay.
I kind of
Seriously?
had a hard time viewing the phone as it was being hurled at me.
Okay. Can you point specifically on your face as to where the phone made contact with you?
Again?
Yes.
Asked and answered for the third or fourth time.
Make the record reflect that the witness has repeatedly, not touching her face,
I can
motioned
touch my face.
around the right side of her face and her eye.
Is that not?
She's pointed
I'm
to
not actually touching
the
it.
side of her eye, the
I'm
right side of her
pointing
right
with five
eye.
fingers even.
Okay. Is the area that you are saying that you are circling the area you claim that the phone hit?
I'm touching with 5 fingers. I'm pointing with 5 fingers the area that it felt like I was impacted.
Okay. And as a result of that impact, did you seek medical treatment?
After May 21st, no.
At any time after May 21st, did you seek consultation with any doctor or other medical professional?
No.
Isn't it true that you've never at any time sought medical treatment with a doctor after any of these times you claim Johnny was violent with you?
Objection. Calls for a narrative. Compound. Vague and ambiguous. Go ahead.
Not true.
When have you sought medical treatment for the claims you're making related to domestic violence with Johnny Depp? If ever. Yes.
In December, I sought medical treatment.
Where did you seek
Twice,
medical treatment?
actually. Once on the
You're interrupting her, Blair.
December, I think it was 16th, right after the incident. As it was likely, I had a concussion because I wasn't quite sure how the night ended. I had been punched repeatedly in the back of the head, and I was bleeding from my lip. Felt like my nose was broken, and
Who did you see? What doctor did you see?
I'm trying to answer you as
Okay.
best I can. If you'd please allow me to.
Of course.
It's argumentative.
My friend Raquel got on the phone and asked a private nurse because it was late.
Who was the private nurse?
Her name is Erin Borum.
Okay. Did she work for Johnny Depp?
Yes. Well, no, she does not work for Johnny Depp.
Did she work for you?
No. she
Had
does
you
not.
ever had any
she
contact
worked-
with her as a nurse prior to that occasion?
Yes.
When?
For the year or two prior.
Okay. So you'd had a 2-year relationship with this nurse.
She has had a relationship with both Johnny and I, and works for works for our doctor, Dr. Kipper.
And she specifically treated you prior
Vague.
to this December incident in 2015 for the year before, you say?
What are you asking me exactly?
Had she had an interaction or relationship with you as a medical professional prior to December of 2015?
Asked and answered.
Yes.
And isn't that true that she had that relationship because she was advising you and helping you with a drug issue?
No. that
She
is
never
not-
discussed a drug issue or
Wait.
helped you?
Vague and ambiguous as to the term drug issue.
Did she ever assist you or have a relationship with you regarding any drug-related matters connected with your personal health?
Vague regarding drug-related matters.
If you mean illegal drug, no.
How about prescription drugs?
Yes, as she's a nurse who works for my doctor, and she was traveling as Johnny's backup 24-hour nurse for his sobriety issues and his detox post his opiate detox. And so she was around.
When you claim you sought medical treatment in December 2015,
Twice.
did you go to a hospital?
The second time I sought medical advice, it was in my doctor's office because the headaches wouldn't go away, and I was worried I had some sort of low-grade concussion, if there is such a thing, and I'm not a medical professional.
Did you tell your doctor that Johnny Depp had committed domestic violence against you?
Wait, that's a privilege with a doctor,
Oh, okay.
so don't answer.
Did you you said you sought treatment for the domestic violence from the doctor, correct?
Wait.
That was
Okay,
worded.
okay.
I sought medical treatment because of the injuries inflicted on my head and the lasting pain I was having from them following Johnny punching me repeatedly in the back of the head, among other things. I went to a doctor's office and sought treatment based on those injuries.
Okay. And did you feel it was important to share what those injuries were?
At the time, I felt it more important to protect the privacy of myself and Johnny, and was worried about the repercussions that could befall him.
Okay. Did you ever at any time request medical records from this doctor for purposes of these proceedings?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you provide those records here today?
I didn't bring anything with me today. I did not.
Did you provide them at any time prior to any other human being?
Other than, you can't answer as to counsel, and obviously,
That's not true, but
excuse me,
go ahead.
we brought a stack of documents. We've asked about 7 times that she be allowed to take a look at them, and she's never been allowed to take a look at them.
And there's not a single medical record in there.
Okay, well then there's your answers to that
too.
question. So why are you asking?
Because the witness just testified that she provided medical records.
I didn't.
So-
I didn't hear her say that. You keep.
Did you obtain medical records in
I
relation
obtained
to
them,
this
yes.
case? Okay. After you obtained them, what did you do with them?
Don't divulge any communications with lawyers.
Okay.
What is the doctor you are referring to when you claim you went to a doctor for injuries suffered from violence by Johnny Depp?
It's been asked and answered.
What is the name of the doctor?
Asked and answered.
I'm sorry?
It wasn't answered.
Yeah.
It was. She said it.
Really?
Yeah, you want to
Could you-
listen?
Well, I said Erin was, but that was she was the one who did the initial midnight concussion check.
Erin's not a doctor, correct?
No, she's a nurse. She said
Stop
medical
being
professional.
argumentative.
Okay, wait a minute.
Exactly.
Okay, it is almost 6 o'clock. I've asked all day that you speak one at a time, and I need you guys to speak one at a time.
She can go as fast as she wants.
Okay.
You shouldn't.
Okay. Sorry.
What is the name of the doctor?
Can I answer that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Dr. Monroe.
What's his first name? Do you know?
I just know him as Dr. Monroe.
Does he practice in Los Angeles?
Yes.
Where?
I don't know his exact address.
In Beverly Hills?
Yes.
And in terms of what you claim happened after the time you say Johnny Depp threw the phone to the time Johnny Depp left and you didn't see him anymore, your testimony is he hit you again
Vague.
after the phone hit you? Are you claiming that Johnny hit you?
Are you asking on another incident or specific?
No, May
incident?
21.
As I said to you before, I was sitting on the couch with my legs crossed, and my head was down in my hand. I was crying and screaming, "You hit me!" So the impact of his hand, I don't know if it was to grab me by the hair to get me up off the couch, or if it was just an impact into it in and of itself, but it impacted me nonetheless. Next thing I know, he has me by the hair, and he is taunting me about not being able to see. Let me see your face. Let me see your eyes. Let me see. You really hurt this time.
Objection, move to strike, non-responsive. Did he hit you after the time you say he threw the phone at your face?
I oppose that motion to strike.
I just answered you that I couldn't tell if it was a hit or not. My hands were in my hands.
Okay, so you don't
Crying.
know. Okay.
And the impact of him and an appendage of his hit me with force.
Okay. You claim that after he hit you with the phone, he broke a magnum of wine on the floor of the apartment where you were?
I don't know if he smashed it on the floor or if he just threw it on the floor and it didn't smash.
There was
sorry, I don't
broken
remember.
glass on the floor?
Yes, he broke a lot of glass things that left glass on the floor.
And that was where you were, around the sofa and around the
That
stairs
was
in
on
the
his
living
way-
room?
On his way out, which is more in the kitchen.
Okay, in the kitchen.
Because
Was there
other-
any broken glass? I'm sorry.
Slower, please.
Sorry.
Are you claiming there was any broken glass anywhere else on the first floor of Penthouse 5 other than the kitchen?
I don't know. No, I don't remember.
Do you remember whether you're claiming that there was any wine on the floor of the Penthouse 5 after you say he hit you with the phone?
Yes.
And the wine was spilled and visible?
Yes.
Okay. And were there any other broken objects scattered on the floor of Penthouse 5 after you say he hit you with the phone?
Yes.
What were they?
These we huge heavy silver candlesticks, candelabra sticks. Those were on the floor, broken. Baskets of fruit that we had on the kitchen island. There were fruit everywhere. Baskets on the ground. The containers holding the spoons and fork, kitchen utensils. Those were spilled. Things that were on a lamp. A little statue thing, among other things.
And your testimony is that after he had done these things, Raquel Pennington came into the apartment, correct?
Yes, but I do not recall if how much of what I just described has been broken. I don't know how much of that had been done before Raquel walked in, because I know he did a lot of it on his way out.
Okay. Had any of it been done by the time that Jerry, his security person, and Sean, his security person, came into the apartment?
Vague.
On May 21.
Like I said, I can't remember if or how much of it had been done by the time Raquel entered. And Raquel entered before Jerry.
Okay. At the point that Jerry Judge and Sean Bett were in the apartment, do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And your claim in your declaration is that Johnny was still screaming, correct?
Yes.
And Johnny
Yes.
was throwing things, correct?
Are you on a line and page? Are you
No, I'm just remembering what is said.
Okay, just
I wanna-
focus.
I am focused.
Okay.
Okay.
I just am interested in the truth. So if you could tell us,
I would love to.
when Jerry Judge and Sean Betts were in the condo, is it your testimony that Johnny was still screaming?
Yes.
Is it your testimony that Johnny broke things in the presence of Sean Betts and Jerry Judge?
I believe so.
And he broke wine bottles?
I don't know to what I don't know what things he broke in front of them or what happened next. I am on the couch crying, being covered by my best friend after having this happen to me. So I have limited ability to tell you what exactly was broken when Jerry or Sean's eyes are pointed in any specific direction.
And you're claiming that Sean Betts and Jerry Judge stood there and did nothing, though, while this was happening, correct?
They weren't there the whole time.
During the period they were there, your claim is that they did nothing, correct?
They walked in and most of it had been done. He had already charged at me, to which Raquel threw herself in between us, put her arms up, protect us. He'd already pushed Raquel's arms away, intimidated her. We're both back down on the couch. He's protecting me, and he's screaming at me at the top of his lungs, which is what I can only guess served as the impetus to get Jerry Judge and Sean into the room. While he's screaming at me, and I'm looking down, and he's screaming at me, taking a step closer and screaming louder each time. Get the fuck up, Amber, get the fuck up. get the fuck up. Amber, you hear me, get the fuck up. And I can only imagine, because it was so loud towards the end, that they came in. So I can't tell you the exact moment. Was it at the 3rd threat or the 10th threat when they walked in? But at some point they walked in, and he turned his head, and I hopped up off the couch, ran to the side corner of the room, and said, "Jerry, help me! If he hits me one more time, I will call the police."
But you'd already asked to call 911 by that point, correct?
I didn't know if I was even on the phone when I was screaming.
Objection, non-responsive, move to strike. You had already asked to call 911 by the time you say Jerry Judge was there, correct?
That's incorrect, because that's to assume that I knew somebody, I had somebody to whom I could ask to call.
Did you ask to call 911 prior to when Jerry Judge was in the apartment?
I didn't know any.
Vague and ambiguous.
Prior to when Jerry Judge was in the apartment on May 21, 2016.
Vague and ambiguous. And
What are you asking me?
asked and answered.
Had you asked to call 911 prior to this time you were describing when you say Sean Bett and Jerry Judge came in the room?
Vague and ambiguous.
No.
Asked and answered.
No.
I yelled, "Call 911." Asking implies there was someone to whom I could ask this question, and as I have stated before to you, I didn't know if anyone was on the line.
You never asked either of these security individuals to call 911. Isn't that true?
I don't think I asked them to call 911. I threatened to call 911 if Jerry stood by and let him hit me one more time.
You threatened that in front of Jerry Judge and Sean Bett to call 911.
No, I threatened to call the police if he hit me again, and if they let him hit me again.
In front of Jerry Judge and Sean Bett.
To Jerry Judge.
And in front of Raquel.
Yeah. I
And-
said, "Jerry, if he hits me one more time," I said, "Jerry, help me," or whatever. "If he hits me, or he's hit me, and if he hits me one more time, Jerry, I'm going to call 911, or I'm going to call the police, because what else am I going to do?"
And by that time you were already injured, correct?
Yes.
Your face had been hit by the cell phone.
It had just been hit.
Okay. And there was a mark on your face?
How would I know?
Well, did you learn there was a mark on your face later that evening?
Marks develop.
Did you
So
see
do
a mark
police.
on your face later in the evening?
Yes.
When later?
I don't know when the exact time I looked in a mirror. It's for the first time.
Okay. After Johnny had left or before?
Oh, Johnny left right not too long after that. In fact, they told him, "We got to get out of here." He smashed some things on the way out. I know that for sure.
After or before is the question. Focus on the question.
Can you repeat the question?
When did you first know that there was a mark on your face that was visible, that you could see any indication that you had any injury or marks on your face on May 21?
Asked and answered.
Are you not willing to tell me?
You can answer, but you've already answered. I mean, you.
Oh, again,
Here's
I
the
don't
problem.
know.
You keep switching the question. So you ask one question, and then you switch the question around and to something that she's already said. So go ahead, Amber. Say what the answer is.
I don't know exactly what time it was that I was able to look in a mirror and see the damage on my face, but I do know that it felt bad. It felt puffy and sore.
Puffy and sore before the police arrived, correct?
It hurt immediately.
Okay. And your claim is that there were marks on your face prior to the police arriving, correct?
I don't know if there were marks on my face or how puffy or how red it was. I don't know how it looked because I probably didn't spend any time looking in a mirror immediately after.
Is it your testimony that there was in penthouse 5 bottles broken, correct?
In Penthouse 5?
Yes.
Yeah, Penthouse 5 was destroyed.
Destroyed. Glass on the floor,
Yes.
wine spilled,
Yes. In the hallway as well.
clear signs that there was damage and
pictures of it.
vandalism in penthouse 5, downstairs.
There was clear damage done downstairs in Penthouse 5.
And you believed you had clearly been assaulted by Johnny Depp, correct?
Are you asking me if I believe I had been assaulted by Johnny?
Yes.
Yes.
You believed he intentionally threw a cell phone that had hit you in the face and committed domestic violence. Is that true?
I can't know what his intentions were.
Did you believe at that time, prior to the police arriving, that he intended that you be hit with that cell phone?
I believe that he threw the cell phone at me, and directly, and he was very close to me, and he had great aim.
Isn't it true, Ms. Hurd, that the Los Angeles Police Department, Officers Saines and Haddon, arrived later that evening and spoke directly with you?
I don't know if they're the first set of officers. I don't know the first set of officers' names.
There were two sets of officers that spoke directly with you, correct?
The second set were further away from me, and they didn't speak to me alone in any real way. By that time, another hour had passed, and things had calmed down and been cleaned up a bit, and so.
So you spoke
don't
with
remember.
two separate sets of officers directly about what had happened, correct?
I spoke to one set of officers very directly, face to face. The second set of officers, I don't remember if I even got up off the couch and spent much time with them. I remember the interaction to be brief.
Isn't it true that when the first set of officers arrived, there was one bald officer and one female officer, correct?
I vaguely remember. I know that it was at least, one woman and one man.
And isn't it true that when those officers communicated with you, they asked you what happened?
Yes, it is true.
And at no time did you ever tell them anything related to your claims that you've made today
Vague-
about anything that had happened on May 21, 2016?
Vague and ambiguous.
What do you mean?
You never made any claim to the police on the evening of May 21, 2016, that Johnny Depp had been violent with you in any way.
I can tell you what I said to them.
Tell me.
I said I declined to give a statement at this time, at the advice of my counsel.
Did you make any other statements to them?
They asked me if he was still here, and I said no. And then they insisted on. They said, "Is this where it happened?" And then I said, "Well, yes."
Where what happened?
They said, "Is this where it happened?"
What happened?
The incident for which they were responding.
Did you ever at any time describe any incident with your husband?
Again, all I said to them was, I declined to give a statement at this time, as per my advice of my counsel.
Isn't it true, Ms. Hurd, that the officers responding, the first set of officers, specifically asked you if the person that had been with you at the time, your husband, had assaulted or hit you in any way?
Are you asking me if they asked me specifically, had I been hit?
Yes.
I don't remember them asking me, have you been hit?
Did they ask you, had there been any contact between you and your husband that was physical?
I do not remember them asking me, but I do not think that they asked me that question.
Isn't it a fact that you were speaking and looking directly at the officers as they were talking to you on the evening of May 21, 2016?
I spoke to them very briefly, to which I did have eye contact with them face to face for a brief moment.
Isn't it a fact they were in your apartment with you for over a half hour?
No, they were not in the same apartment as I for over half an hour.
Isn't it a fact that they were given access to Penthouse 5, the first floor, to do an inspection?
Yes, they were given access. At their insistence, they said they must see everything to make sure that I am safe.
And did you allow them to do that?
Yes.
Isn't it a fact when they made that inspection of Penthouse 5, they did not see any broken glass on the floor?
I don't know what they saw or didn't see. I wasn't ushering them around. They did that by themselves with, I guess maybe Josh was showing them around. But there was extensive damage to which we have plenty of evidence.
Is it your testimony here today that the officers saw extensive damage?
I don't know what the officers saw.
Had any of the damage been cleaned up when the officers arrived by you?
By the time the second set of officers arrived, we had cleaned up the kitchen and cleaned up a bed and cleaned up. Yeah.
By the time the first officers arrived, had you cleaned up any damage to Penthouse 5?
I don't think so.
Okay. Isn't it a fact that you went with the officers to Penthouse 5, the first set of officers?
No.
Is it your testimony that you never went to Penthouse 5 with either of the officers of the first set of officers on May 21?
Exactly.
Isn't it a fact that the officers testified at proceedings in this case that they in fact went with you to Penthouse 5 and interviewed you in Penthouse 5?
Calls for speculation. You're asking what officers testified about?
How would I know what they said?
Did you ever call any police officers after May 21?
Have I seen any police officers?
Have you
after
ever
21?
contacted any police officers after May 21?
No.
Okay. And did you ever make any attempt to contact the officers who were there with you on May 21, 2016?
I got their business card.
Okay. And upon getting...
They left their business card.
Okay. And did you ever make any attempt thereafter, them leaving their business card, to contact those officers?
I did not.
Isn't it a fact you never, at any time after those officers left on May 21, made any attempt to contact the police?
I did not personally.
Did you have anyone else contact the police?
We attempted to.
Who is we?
It's privileged.
Okay.
You've attempted through counsel to contact the police?
If she did, it's privileged, so don't answer.
Did you ever tell any officers at your house on May 21, 2016 that Johnny Depp had done anything wrong to you?
Can you repeat that question?
Did you ever tell any officers at your house on May 21, 2016 that Johnny Depp had ever done anything wrong to you, that night or before?
You're asking me if I've told them?
If you told
that
them on May
he-
21, yes.
Again, I said to them, I decline to give any statement at this time as per the advice of my counsel.
Did the
They
police...
did make a comment to me about it seeming unsafe. That's why they needed to check the apartment. They made a gesture to my face. They said I looked hurt. They also pulled me aside and said, look, just say a statement. We can make sure you're safe. Just say a statement or give us a statement and we'll go get the guy. And they said the exact same thing to Josh.
Is it your testimony that a police officer on May 21
Yes.
told you that it appeared you looked hurt?
He or she gestured, I can't remember which one, to my face and said, we can tell you've been hurt or you don't look good or something to that effect, but I don't remember the exact words they used.
But something to that effect?
Yes.
Is it your testimony? Let me ask you, did the officers ever say they saw enough to arrest Johnny when they were with you on May 21, 2016?
Well, they said to both myself and Josh that all I needed to do was give a statement in order for them to go get the guy or go make an arrest. But maybe they used the arrest to me, but
And your testimony is here today that one of the officers told you that?
yes.
And was it a male officer or a female
Like
officer?
I said, I can't remember which one it was.
During
They
the
also-
time the police arrived, from the time the police arrived till they left, did you ever at any time call any other human being on a telephone
What?
while the police were at your property on Broadway? Did you ever call on the telephone any other human being
While the
while the police were there?
Not that I recall. I don't know.
You didn't recall? You don't recall calling anyone?
I said not that I recall.
Okay. Yes. Did I mishear you earlier? Did you not say that you called Samantha Spector while the police were there on May 21?
It was not while they were there, it was before they were there.
Before they were there and after you called 911,
I did not call 911.
after you asked to call 911,
I screamed, call 911.
your testimony is between that time and the time the police left, you called Samantha Spector, correct?
No.
Your testimony is that before the police got there, but after you screamed, call 911, you called Samantha Spector.
I called Samantha Spector after Johnny left, and I was being comforted by and protected in Rocky and Josh's apartment. I could hear Johnny still trying to get into the apartments, demanding to get into my apartments, kicking in the doors, throwing the wine bottles. There's still holes in the doors you can still see to this day from that. And even though it was scary, I wasn't sure if the cops were on the way.
Focus on the question.
And I wasn't sure if the cops were even on the way. And a few minutes later, Josh came in.
Do you
and
remember the
said,
question?
Yes, I'm trying to answer. I am, because I want to be as accurate as possible. Josh came in and said, the cops are here or downstairs or something. What should I do? What should I say to them? And I said, I don't know. I wanted to know how to handle it. I think I probably called counsel. I don't know when I called her.
Okay, but it was after you learned that the cops were there to find out what to do.
I don't know.
Okay. And after you learned that the cops were there and you called Samantha Spector, was Samantha a friend of yours?
Trying to claim privilege.
Was she a friend of yours at that time?
It's a trying to claim privilege.
Wait. If she's a friend or not?
No, fine, I don't care.
Can you repeat your question, please?
Yes, when you called, at the time you called on May 21, Samantha Spector, after you learned that the cops were there and you wanted to call her and did call her, was her relationship with you as a friend?
You just said that I called Samantha after the cops were there, and I have just told you I'm not quite sure when I called her, if it was before the cops were there or not. So I just don't want to answer your question and validate that comment you inserted into the question, if it's okay.
Isn't it true, Miss Hurd, that you called Samantha Spector on May 21, 2016, because she was representing you in your divorce?
That's a Johnny one.
Was
No,
she your
hang
attorney?
on. In connection with your divorce, there hadn't been a divorce filing, so you've got a problem
Okay.
with that question.
Then what did you say to Samantha Spector
That's
when
a
you
tr-
called her on May 21, 2016?
Wait, what did you say to Samantha Spector?
That's my question.
privilege.
Even I know that's
All right.
privilege.
Okay, good.
And it's
Thank you
privileged
very
because, Ms. Hurd, she was your lawyer at that time, correct?
Or she was a lawyer.
I am a lawyer.
It's privileged, don't answer.
Do you know answer the question?
Okay?
Counsel is directing the client not to answer whether a call made to another person was privileged because it was her lawyer.
Because it was a lawyer. Any communication with a lawyer.
No, sorry, Charles.
You may want to brush up on that, Mr. Harder.
Oh yeah? Seeking legal advice from a
Miss-
lawyer is privileged.
Miss,
You just said talking to a lawyer.
Seeking legal advice from
Excuse
a
me.
lawyer is
may
privileged.
I,
We'll go to
yes.
court.
She shouldn't be speaking.
Ms. Hurd,
Yes, ma'am.
prior to May 21, prior to, let's say, May 22nd, when you say all these things had happened, did you ever commit domestic violence against Johnny Depp?
Objection. I instruct you not to answer.
Is counsel having his client invoke?
I'll also object.
It also calls for a legal
opinion.
conclusion.
Yeah,
Well,
concur.
what's the basis for the
What is,
instruction?
may I ask the basis for the objection
The instruction.
and instruction not to answer?
It calls for a legal conclusion, and it Fifth Amendment.
Prior to May 22nd, 2016, had you ever struck with your hand or fist Johnny Depp?
When Johnny would be hitting me, I did my best to stand up on my 2 feet, emotionally and physically. I did my best to defend myself.
Objection, non-responsive, move to
I
strike.
picked up my hands as best as I could. I tried to.
Okay, Ms. Hurd, prior to May 21, 2016, had you ever thrown an object at Mr. Depp that hit him in his body?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Had you ever slapped him prior to May 22, 2016 with your hand?
Like I said, Johnny's a much bigger man than me, and when a bigger man slaps you around, you do your best to defend yourself if you can, and I don't know to what extent I was able to do that.
We're going to take a short break.
How much more time do we have?
38 minutes.
What is the purpose of the, what is the purpose of the
We're
break?
entitled to a break, and we're taking a break.
No, not yet. May we ask what the purpose of the break is?
Just
Yeah,
take a
we're entitled to a break, and we're taking
We're
one.
in the middle of a line of questioning. Can you please sit down?
No, we're
There was
gonna.
no question.
Are you
Thank you.
joking?
No, guys, I don't
We're
know
taking
what
a
you
break.
expect of me. I can
We
only
have-
do one at a time.
Taking a break.
So,
All right.
How much
38.
We're not
time?
off the record.
It's okay, I'm
We can
asking
go
a
off the
question.
record.
We're just asking how much time
I
is
just want to know how
left.
much time
The
is
time is
on.
approximately 6:15 PM, and we're going off the record. The time is approximately 6:18 PM, and we're back on the record.
And just a clarification, we're not going to invoke the Fifth Amendment privilege, so you can re-ask that question if you like.
which question?
Did you commit domestic violence against Johnny Depp?
Any time prior to May 22nd, 2016, did you ever commit an act of domestic violence against Johnny Depp?
Calls for a legal conclusion and irrelevant, but go ahead.
Do you understand what I'm asking you?
No.
No?
Yes, I understand what you're asking
Okay.
me.
And prior to May 21, 2016, or May 22, 2016, is it your testimony that you never committed any act of what would be considered domestic violence against Mr. Depp?
Calls for a legal conclusion and irrelevant to these proceedings.
I did my best to defend myself and not get seriously hurt or be a doormat to whom this happens to all the time.
Isn't it true, Ms. Hurd, that you previously confessed and apologized to Johnny Depp for committing domestic violence against him?
I'm going to object. Calls for a legal conclusion, argumentative, harassing.
Isn't it true that you had previously told Johnny Depp that you had hit him?
I'm going to object. It's a different question. It's vague and ambiguous, vague as to time.
Many times when we fought, well, not many times, he hit me for a very long time before I ever
I'm going to
picked up my
object as
arms.
non-responsive and move to strike. Ms. Hurd, I'd like you to listen to what I'm about to play. Would you do that?
I then stood up. I don't even know if I said, I might have said, like, what the fuck, you know, whatever, because I just been hitting the head with the fucking corner of the door.
I'm so sorry, I did not, I'm sorry.
And then I stood up.
Do you recognize the voices on that tape?
Mm-hmm.
And who are the people on that tape?
It's Johnny and I.
Okay. And is Johnny describing an act where you made a door go into his head?
Objection, harassing, argumentative, vague.
I was trying to escape from a room where Johnny was attacking me. And in order to escape, I was trying to get onto the other side of the door, attempting to close the door, and he was attempting to get in despite my attempts to try and escape an assault.
Isn't it true that on this tape that was just played, you tell Johnny Depp you're sorry?
Yes.
Okay.
And then you fucking clocked me.
I remember hitting you as a response to the door thing.
Did you just tell Johnny Depp in that recording that I remember hitting you as a response to the door thing?
Yes, as he was trying to get into the door, into the room, I was trying to escape in. He pushed the door into me, and I was trying to hit him by getting him out of the door to stay in the room.
And you told him in that tape recording that you hit him, correct?
I don't know what words I used in that. You can play it back if you want, but I don't remember exactly how long.
If you wouldn't mind, if you'll continue to listen.
Okay.
I'm really sorry about hitting you with the door or hitting your head.
Did you tell Johnny Depp at that time you were speaking to him that you were really sorry for hitting him with the door, hitting him?
I think in that recording I made it very clear that I was sorry that the door hit him while he was trying to get into the room I was escaping or attempting to escape into.
I will mark, excuse me. I'd like you to listen to the following tape. This is punched and we need to have.
Are they being marked as exhibits?
Yeah, mark as exhibit.
We just marked P as the one we just played,
Okay.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Marking
Nice.
the next thing that I'm going to play to you as Q. Would you listen to this, please? This is punching.
It's one of
The
the
one that
white.
says punching.
So
Let's skip one.
just here you are. Anyway, I opened the bathroom door when you were knocking on it.
This is the punching.
Have you waited till I opened?
Where's the disc?
And you just kept going. I tried to close the door 3 times. You know, please, just don't let me know. And then wait, and then I accidentally, I swear, when I was trying to close the door, I guess it scratched your toes. I didn't mean to do that. I bent down. And you either pushed or you kicked the door open. I mean, say, put the door, get more open. So that we could.
No, I didn't mean to. I did not mean to. But I did not mean to do that. I don't know what
I was bent down behind the door.
I did not do anything to her. I did not kick a door or push a door so that it would hit you. I did not. I swear. But I mean, that did not. It was not my intention. I think I remember when the door scraped my toes.
Okay. So you told him in that excerpt that you hit him with the door but did not intend to hit him, correct?
Recording speaks for itself.
Did you say that?
I said whatever I said in that recording. I
Okay.
don't. When you play it for me, it's hard for me to remember every single.
And
word.
that's a recording marked as exhibit the punching.
Q that we
Q.
just played.
Q. Would you continue to listen to exhibit Q?
Mm-hmm. Are these from the same day?
I reacted, but this whole the door thing, I remember, I never did that. That wasn't on purpose. I might have done it on accident.
Okay. Let's say that was an accident. I then stood up. I don't even know if I said, I might have said, like, what the fuck, you know, whatever, because I just been hit in the head with the fucking corner of the door.
I'm so sorry, I did not. I'm sorry.
And then I stood up. And then you fucking clapped.
I remember hitting you as a response to the door thing.
That's exactly what I just told her.
And I'm really sorry about hitting you with the door or hitting your head. I did not mean to, nor.
You didn't mean to hit me in the head with the door, but you meant to punch me in the jaw.
I meant to hit you, and I did not do this thing with the door. I do remember, I did mean to hit you.
So that you didn't mean.
The door? No, God, no,
But punching me in the jaw.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So on the tape, you tell Johnny Depp that you did mean to hit him.
Objection. That's argumentative, and it misstates what the recording was.
And it also misrepresents what actually happened, which is him trying to get into a room I'm trying to keep him out of. And then he runs the door over my toes, trying to get into the room. I tried to push him out of it, which is what the hit is referred to. And Johnny, whenever he was injured or touched it, always referred to it in these ways of punching or clocked or whatever. And whether you discussed it with him or not, the last thing you do in talking to him afterwards or trying to reconcile with him is to get into what the definition of those words mean to him.
Just say what
So
happened.
I never even addressed it. He would, if he was ever pushed, it was a cold. He called it a cold clock. I mean, it was just very dramatic.
Isn't
about
it true, Ms. Hurd, that in September of 2015, you punched Johnny Depp in the face with a closed fist?
I hit Johnny one time when he. Sorry, I'll wait.
No, you answer the question. Please stop whispering because it's distracting over here.
It's your team.
No, I was referring
No, these
to
two.
this actually.
I can't hear them. I hear
I
them.
can't hear them.
So please answer the question.
Yes or no, did you ever
No.
punch Johnny Depp with a closed fist in the history of your relationship with Johnny?
Answer it however you feel you wish to.
Thank you. One time, Johnny was hitting me, and he was hitting me hard and repeatedly, and I was screaming. Security walks in, and they don't do anything about it. And he makes this motion when Jerry Judge yells "boss" or Sean. I can't remember who it was, and all we had was a little bit of separation, and my sister runs down the stairs. We're on a landing in between two flights of stairs.
Ms. Hurd, I must interrupt you,
You can't.
because
You
I've
can't.
asked you a yes
Then
or no
withdraw your question then because
Ms.
she's
Hurd,
answering.
prior to today's date, have you ever hit Johnny Depp?
Answer it however you wish.
352.
You've already asked and she's already answered and you interrupted her.
Ms. Hurd, have you ever hit Johnny Depp prior to today?
Objection, Vegas to time.
Hey, everyone on this side of the room, please.
Objection 352. It's not relevant to the domestic violence proceeding.
Overruled.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Answer it however you want to, including the way you were just, if
I'm
you
asking
wish.
for a yes or no answer.
You don't have to answer it the way she wants you to answer it.
He was about to push my sister down the stairs. She was attempting to break us up. I am protective over my baby sister. When he laid hands on her, I don't know what I did, but I know I jumped in between the actions that I saw could lead to a fatal injury to my sister. She was standing on the top of a flight of stairs, and she has never hurt anyone in her life, and she does not deserve to be pushed down the flight of stairs. And it looked like she was about to be. And I would have done what anybody who has a child or a sister would have done. I acted defensively in her life. I saw her standing on top of a flight of stairs and trying to interrupt a fight in between him and I. I don't know what part of my body I put in between me and him and her. But I would have done anything. I would have done anything to prevent her from being pushed down a flight of stairs.
Isn't it true, Ms. Hurd, that prior to today you've committed domestic violence against your sister, Whitney Hurd?
I'm going to object. Don't answer that. It has nothing to do with these proceedings.
Isn't it a fact, Ms. Hurd, that you've hit Johnny Depp on multiple occasions prior to today's date?
Objection 352.
Okay, it's compound. It's been asked and answered.
Isn't it a fact, Ms. Hurd, that on multiple occasions prior to today you've hit Mr. Depp without any provocation?
Same objection.
Objection Vegas to time 352.
No?
No.
Isn't it a fact, Ms. Hurd, that prior to today you have slapped Mr. Depp on multiple occasions?
Objection Vegas to time 352.
Isn't it true you've slapped Mr. Depp prior to today on multiple occasions?
Same objection.
When you live in such a violent relationship as I have been in, with someone who's so much bigger than you and so much stronger than you and has no off button, you do the best you can to defend yourself. And I don't know to what extent I would have, he could claim I have done damage on him. I've done my best to defend myself. He is much bigger than me. He's much stronger than me. And this went on for so long before I ever even tried to defend myself.
Objection, move to strike non-responsive.
It is responsive.
Isn't it a fact, Ms. Hurd, that you, on multiple occasions prior to today,
Please lower your voice.
threw objects
Please
that,
lower your voice.
that hit Mr. Depp, including a mineral spirits can?
Objection.
352, it's irrelevant to these proceedings. It's Vegas to time. It's vague and ambiguous. Including a mineral, it sounds like a compound. Are you asking about several instances or one instance? It's vague.
Have you ever intentionally thrown an object that hit Mr. Depp prior to today?
Okay, I'm going to get some new objections. 352, irrelevant to these proceedings, vague and ambiguous, Vegas to time, harassing. But go ahead and explain in any way you feel is appropriate.
What do you mean?
I mean, have you ever thrown an object prior to today at Mr. Depp that hit him?
Same objections.
I don't know what has hit him. I don't remember anything in particular about mineral spirits.
Have you ever thrown a bottle or any other object at Mr. Depp prior to today which hit him?
Same objections.
I don't know.
Isn't
I don't
it
know what's hidden.
Isn't it true, Ms. Hurd, that you
You
in fact...
interrupted her.
I don't know what is hit him. I don't know what has been thrown in self-defense because it meant that, or him being landing a punch at me. I don't know also what I will pass over when we have these discussions afterwards and you're just seeking for peace. What I would have said or not said just to move on with our lives and acquire for ourselves some sort of peace. So a lot of times we'd have these conversations afterwards where he would articulate some of his experiences and a lot of which are delusional, and some to which I would agree and not.
Focus on the question. The question is about throwing.
Have you ever, prior to today, thrown any object at Mr. Depp, whether or not it hit him?
Objection.
350.
352, irrelevant, vague as a time, calls for a narrative, potentially.
It calls for a yes or no answer. Ms. Hurd, have you prior to today ever thrown any object at Mr. Depp, whether or not it actually hit him?
Same objections, and answer it however you wish.
I don't know. It depends on, I guess, the context. I might have thrown something if it meant that it was either because he was advancing on me or because I had no other means to which I could protect myself. He weighs well over 100 pounds more than me, and if someone like that's coming after you because they're high or fucked up, high or drunk and have taken a bag of ecstasy and done a bunch of cocaine and are heavily intoxicated, like in Australia or Japan, you do whatever you can to defend yourself. And I don't know, I have no idea what else I could do.
So is that yes or no?
I don't know is what my answer was to you, and I explained it the best I could.
Isn't it true, Ms. Heard, that in Australia in March of 2016, you threw an alcohol bottle at Mr. Depp, and in fact, when it smashed, you cut off the end of his finger with the bottle that you'd thrown?
That's a ridiculous accusation.
Isn't it a fact that you threw on December 30th, 2015, while on the island in Exuma, a can of mineral spirits paint thinner and hit Mr. Depp in the head?
Objections 352 irrelevant to these proceedings, vague, argumentative, harassing.
Isn't it true? Yes?
If she doesn't want to have you answer, then let her ask another
Are
question.
you prepared to answer?
Sorry.
She was about to, but you started asking a new question.
I apologize. Ms. Heard, are you about to answer? Would you answer
What's
that
the
question?
Please repeat your question.
Did you throw on December 30, 2015, a can of paint thinner while on the island of Exuma at Johnny Depp and hit him in the head?
352, irrelevant to these proceedings, vague, argumentative, and harassing.
On the island, I remember this last time he came at me really bad. He came at me really hard. And it started in the closet, and at one point he had me by the neck in the closet. And he said this, I think he said it was like this, you don't think I'll fucking do it this time. You don't think I'll fucking do it. He had his hands around my neck. Wasn't squeezing very hard. He was, but he was squeezing. And I don't know if I pushed him or I picked something up to get away, or at what point I picked something up, but I have thrown something on the island at him while I was running from the closet where this started to the door to get out.
Isn't it true, Ms. Heard, that in front of two different employees at the island, you threw the paint thinner and hit him in the head on December 15th?
352, irrelevant, vague, argumentative, harassing.
In front of whose employees?
And asked and answered.
Oh. That's true. I just explained it, I guess.
Well, explain it again, because
No, I'm not asking for anything other than a yes or no. Did you or did you not throw a can at Johnny Depp on December 15, 2015?
Asked
No.
and asked and
No.
You have to wait for me to
Oh,
object.
I'm sorry.
Objection argument.
I'm sorry.
Just wait.
In
I have all the
fact,
time in the world. She doesn't. You do.
in fact,
So
Ms.
Stop talking, please. I haven't given my objections. Or are you withdrawing the question?
There's no question pending.
There was. I was about to object. My objections are 352, irrelevant, harassing, vague as to time, and answer however you feel is appropriate.
Okay. What incident are you referring to?
I'll move on, Ms.
No, I want you to answer. Can you please read back the
Heard.
question?
Ms. Heard.
Please read back the question.
Isn't it
Withdraw the question.
Fine, withdraw the question and we'll move on.
Isn't it true that you've been previously arrested for committing domestic violence against your spouse?
I'm going to object. Irrelevant, harassing, has nothing to do with this proceeding. It's argumentative. Go ahead and explain how you want to.
There was no domestic violence within that relationship, and the state of Washington, where I was arrested, immediately dropped the charges because they knew the exact same thing that I just told you, that no domestic violence ever occurred. And my ex has stated such. In fact, it was so ridiculous, those charges. It was a verbal argument was misinterpreted, misrepresented, and completely overreacted upon by two individuals in a power position. And as soon as they found out that we were partners, which we were not going to be arrested for before, as soon as they found out we were partners, the male cop, not this other woman who's later been brought into the press, this male cop put me in handcuffs, and that's there was no physical violence, no physical abuse, and zero domestic violence whatsoever between us. It was a trumped up charge, and it was dropped immediately for being such.
Isn't it a fact, Ms. Hurd, that in fact on September 24th, 2009, you were arrested for domestic violence committed against Tasha Van Ray?
Asked and answered. Isn't that what you just talked about?
Did I miss something?
Isn't it a fact, Ms. Hurd, that on September 14th, you were in fact taken to jail? It wasn't dropped immediately.
Same objections, Vegas to
Same objections.
Isn't it a fact, Ms. Hurd, that you spent the night in jail from September 14th to September 15th, 2009, as a result of your arrest for domestic violence?
Same objections. It's irrelevant.
Is that true?
352. She's already answered what happened. It's
Is that
vague.
true?
It's argumentative. It's harassing. You just want to, get your harassment in. Go ahead.
Let the record reflect Mr.
I just
Harder's
answered.
directing her not to answer. Did you
I
spend the night in
answered
jail?
you.
I never said don't answer. I never said
Our
that.
reporter is about to.
That's not my fault.
Yes, it is.
Because she keeps cutting me off every time I say something.
There's no need to yell, Mr. Harder.
Well, I have to be heard. Everyone's talking over me. You've got a whole wall of lawyers over there who are
Ms. Hurd,
talking over me.
May I continue?
Except for Hans.
Can I say something?
Ms. Hurd, isn't it a fact that Tasha Van Ray on September 14th, 2009 claimed to the police that you had hit her arm?
Same objections.
No?
I don't know anything about this.
Answer give a full answer, please.
I don't know anything about the claim that you just made about what Tasha said or did not say. I can't possibly know that. I know nothing about what you just said.
Isn't it a fact that on September 14th you hit Tasha Van Ray in her arm?
No.
Action.
Isn't it a fact on September 14th you broke the necklace off of Tasha Van Ray's neck?
352,
A
it's
necklace.
irrelevant to these proceedings. Argumentative harassing.
Isn't it a fact that Tasha Van Ray reported to the police that you had hit her arm?
352, irrelevant, vague, argumentative, and harassing.
And speculation.
Isn't it a fact, Ms.
It's
Hurd,
heard still.
that you know very well that your spouse, that your domestic partner, Tasha Van Ray, requested that you be arrested for domestic violence?
Calls, you need to please let me get my objections in, okay? Please.
Okay, at this time, we would like to take a break for 10 minutes.
No, I want to get my objections in. Well, fine. She said no, so
May we go off the record?
Hans, you
we're not going off the record. We're not going off the record.
Taking a brief break.
We're not taking a brief
Really, we
break.
got to take a break every single time you wanted to.
Because you made her cry, so we're not taking a break. We're going to keep running. We're not.
They can take a break. but
You
we're not
you guys
going
take a
off the
break. You got 10 minutes, and we're walking out in 10 minutes.
Off the record?
We're not off the record.
please. We have to agree
It's
to
okay,
that.
it's okay, we're gonna file a motion, we're gonna have much more time.
Great, more emotions.
This one we're gonna win too.
Yeah, I can't wait for you guys to win one.
Me too.
Oh my God.
I must tell you,
You're on the
You're on the record, Blair.
Say whatever you want.
You're on the record.
Don't do it, Blair. He has a lot of good ties. He's a good guy. You got good ties. Oh gosh, is she okay? That happened to Blair last
There are more microphones than the ones in your hand.
Thank you.
Why don't we?
No, no.
Anyone who wants to talk?
No, no, you walked into a glass wall, so it was just a little, we had a moment.
Still on the record, Ms. Hurd, were you here in these offices last weekend, Saturday, August 6th?
Ms. Hurd, microphone.
Sorry.
Let the record reflect Ms. Hurd is chewing and placing her microphone back on her body.
Well, you walked out of the room, so she took a bite of food. Is that a crime?
You okay?
Can we go back to the PC program?
I'm going to get there, Pierce,
I think
as
might
soon
have
as you
already-
want.
Everybody just settle down.
Shall I repeat the question, Ms. Hurd?
Please.
Were you here in these offices last weekend, Saturday, August 6th?
Was that last time? Yes, I was.
What time did you arrive?
I don't remember exactly what time I arrived.
Do you remember approximately what time you arrived?
Do you mean to the location, or do you mean to this office, like upstairs?
Into these offices.
I don't know. I don't know what time it was. It was.
Bless you.
It was. I spent a long time trying to get into this building. I had to drive around. I saw paparazzi. We looked for an entrance. Garage entrance. Couldn't find the garage entrance. Thank you. So I don't know how long that all took.
Can you approximate what time you came to these offices on Saturday morning, inside these offices?
I don't know how long it took me to get from downstairs to up here. There were so many photographers. We tried so many different ways to get in.
What time did you arrive downstairs?
At the time that my lawyers told me to arrive.
Which was what
Well,
time?
wait,
Well,
don't talk about
Yeah.
what your lawyers tell you.
Right.
If you recall the time, tell her the time.
I believe it was. I don't remember. I'm sorry, I'm jet lagged. I don't remember. It was
Was it the morning or the afternoon?
the morning.
And was it the late morning or the early morning?
It's vague. What's early, what's late? 2 a.m.
Okay, I'll move on. Were you here to have your deposition taken?
Yes, I was.
And did you have your deposition taken on August 6th?
Last Saturday?
Yes.
No.
At any time during your visit here to these offices on August 6th to have your deposition taken, did you ever enter this conference room at any time?
No.
Where were you in these offices during the time you were here on August 6th?
In a conference room.
Okay. And what time did you leave these offices on August 6th?
It was very late.
Who was seated with you while you were in these offices on August 6th?
objection, that's vague.
That's the time.
She was seating with.
At any time when you were in these offices?
It's the objection.
Was Joe Jackson with you when you were in these offices on August 6th?
Who's Joe Jackson?
Did you have any security personnel with you
yeah.
while you were in these offices on August 6th?
I don't know.
Objection,
Vague as to what you mean by Joe, whether Joe was sitting in the lobby.
Did you bring someone named Joe Jackson as a security person to these offices on August 6th?
No, I did not bring him.
Was someone named Joe Jackson, who was a security person, with you when you came to these offices on August 6th?
Big as to security. Charles, I can work it.
Was somebody named Joe Jackson with you when you came into these offices on August 6th?
Objection vague.
Someone named Joe helped me get from downstairs to the elevators.
Did that person named Joe stay in these offices while you were here?
I have no
To your
idea
knowledge?
where he was.
Did you ever see him during any part of the day you were at these offices?
I saw him in the lobby once or twice.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah.
And that was the lobby outside of the conference room
I don't
where
know.
you were sitting?
I don't know. Oh yeah, exactly the lobby.
Okay.
I don't know of another lobby. I
Okay.
don't know the office layout.
And that's the reception area of these offices?
That's what I'm referring to as
Okay.
the lobby, more or less.
Okay. And what time did you leave on August 6th?
It was in the evening. It was very late.
Okay. When you came here on August 6th and arrived in the morning and left in the evening very late, did you bring your cell phone that day?
I believe I did.
You brought your cell phone with you that day? Okay. Did you bring any other computer devices with you that day?
I did not bring my computer. I can't remember if I brought my computer.
Okay. Did you bring?
I don't think so.
Did you bring any other digital devices with you that day on August 6th when you were here for your deposition?
No, just my phone, I think.
Did you make any telephone calls on that phone on August 6th while you were in these offices?
Yes.
Did you? To whom did you make those calls?
I'm going to object. If it has nothing to do with this case, then she shouldn't answer it.
Are you answering my question?
Yeah, she doesn't have to answer.
No. It's privacy.
Real good basis.
Privacy.
Privacy, irrelevance.
It's harassing.
Ms. Hurd, did you cry at any time you were present in these offices last Saturday, August 6, 2016?
Don't answer. It's harassing. Don't answer. It has nothing to do with any of this.
You don't have to answer.
Yeah.
How is this going
Ms.
to
Hurd,
prove or disprove anything?
Ms.
for
Hurd,
the-
were you ever asked to enter this conference room to commence your deposition on August 6?
Yes.
No, I don't know that
Hey.
she knows.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Were you ever asked to enter the conference room here to start your deposition on August 6 at any time?
No.
Were you ever asked by Miss Laura Wasser at approximately 2 p.m. to come into the conference room to start your deposition?
No, I was not asked.
Were you ever asked by Miss Wasser at approximately 5:30 p.m. to start your deposition and come into the conference room?
No, she never asked me to come into any conference room.
Ms. Hurd, where were you yesterday at 10 a.m.?
Argumentative,
Privacy.
harassing, irrelevant.
Privacy.
Were you in the United States of America yesterday at 10 a.m.?
Objection.
Objection, harassing.
Irrelevant.
Doesn't have to answer.
I'm going to take their advice.
Are you not going to answer my
I'm
question?
taking my counsel's advice.
Were you aware yesterday at 10 a.m. that there was a court order for you to attend your deposition in these offices at 10 a.m. On August 12th?
It's
Objection.
privilege.
Yeah,
If you learn
objection.
from lawyers, it's privilege. Don't answer.
States facts.
Not
You
with-
guys, please cut that.
Notwithstanding any confidential information relayed to you by your counsel, were you aware there was a court order for you to attend your deposition yesterday, August 12th, 2016, at these offices?
There
If you
wasn't
learned
at
of
9:40. There
Hang
wasn't.
on.
Can you say that again?
What?
It's important for the record.
As of 9:40,
Is there-
there wasn't. Blair, we were in court. Nobody else here was. The court made an order before 10 o'clock.
Is
if
there,
you learned of anything from counsel, then you can't answer it because it would be privileged. It's also irrelevant as harassment.
is there any reason you were not present for the start of your deposition yesterday, August 12th, 2016, in these offices?
Objection,
Harassing.
client privilege.
Privilege, harassing,
There was
don't
a
answer.
court order.
Your attorney filed a document in court yesterday stating that, quote, an emergency has arisen which requires ex parte relief, end quote. Would you like to see a copy of this document?
I would.
Yeah, I would.
Before I show you the copy of the document, do you
Your
know
36 minutes is up.
was there any emergency yesterday that you had?
Objection, harassing.
Harassing.
Did you
We're out
have,
of time.
Deborah's conclusion.
We're out of
did you
time.
have any emergency, Ms. Hurd?
Yeah, we're out of time.
We're out of time. Deposition's over.
Thank you.
All right, that'll do it, folks.
Thank you.
You're not adjourning. We're not adjourning.
I'm not adjourning this deposition yet.
Well,
It's 7
we
hours.
are, because you ran out of, your 7 hours is over. It's now 6:55 p.m. She was here at 10 o'clock or 10.
We still have time remaining for the
10:07 a.m.
deposition.
Not according to your
and
videographer. He told me
We have not concluded these proceedings or adjourned these
your
proceedings.
videographer, Mr. Videographer, I'm sorry, I don't know your name. You told me 36 minutes and I put the timer on. Are we out of time now, sir?
We're out of time, sir.
We're out of time.
We're at 7 hours.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's the law.
thank you.
That's the law.
I would like to make a record that the 7 hours to which Mr. Harder refers to has included repeated speaking objections and other proper objections throughout the day, obstructing these proceedings moving forward. Mr. Harder has continued in his efforts to obstruct these proceedings by making non-law objections and directing his client not to answer questions in these proceedings. Should we do this stipulation?
And I'm just going to respond that all of that's incorrect. I was making appropriate objections based upon the inappropriate questioning and commentary that was coming from Ms. Burke. I had to make very brief statements, so it was all entirely appropriate. And if you make a motion, we're going to seek sanctions against you because it would be improper. The witness has been here for 7 hours. Your videographer just confirmed it's been 7 hours. We've been very patient. It's 6:55 that we ended. She was here at just a few minutes after 10 a.m. We took short breaks. It's been a full day. We've fully complied with the code, and you'd be wasting the court's time, our time, a lot of resources if you were to bring a motion otherwise.
Mr. Harder, would you like to say anything else for the record?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Pierce. Good seeing you. I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue by saying that I offer the following stipulation: that the court reporter be relieved of responsibility with respect to the original transcript, and that the original be transcribed and signed by the deponent under penalty of perjury. The original will be sent to counsel for the deponent and read, corrected, and signed within 30 days of receipt by counsel. If not notified of changes in writing within that time frame, the original shall be deemed signed and correct. The notice of corrections you can fax. Let the record reflect Ms. Hurd is no longer in the room.
She's left the building.
And left apparently the deposition so that she's not receiving this information from counsel.
She doesn't need to. I'll tell her. If you want to do a stipulation, let's do a stipulation. I could tell her what it is. She doesn't need to be here for this.
Attorney-client privilege.
Are you waiving the attorney-client privilege?
Of course not. I can make a stipulation on behalf of my client as to how the transcript gets treated. Why are you guys laughing? You're like a couple of,
Say it. Go ahead.
Please.
Say it, Charles. I dare you.
jovial people who don't take things seriously. You've been laughing all day. It's been distracting. I've done more stipulations for transcripts than probably anybody in this room. So, are you proposing a transcript? I mean, you argue over every tiny little thing. What's your stipulation? Did you say all the terms or not?
Are you indicating, Mr. Harder, that you intend to convey the information I am giving to your client?
I can convey whatever I want to my client. If we enter into a stipulation, I can enter into one on her behalf, and I could let her know what the stipulation is.
Are you indicating you are willing to do that?
I'm willing to do that when I hear the terms of the stipulation.
Continuing where I left off.
Would you mind repeating it, because I didn't catch half of it? More laughter.
Sure, Mr. Harder. I offer the following stipulation: that the court reporter be relieved of responsibility with respect to the original transcript, and that the original be transcribed and signed by the deponent under penalty of perjury. The original will be sent to counsel for the deponent to read, correct, and sign within 30 days of receipt by counsel. If not notified of any changes in writing within that time frame, the original shall be deemed signed and correct. The notice of corrections can be faxed to us if your client chooses. The original transcript shall be maintained by counsel for the deponent and shall be made available at the time of hearing without notice. If not available, then a certified copy of the same can be corrected. Or if the original shall be otherwise lost, mutilated, altered, or destroyed, a certified copy of the same, as corrected, may be used in place and instead of the original and used for all purposes for which the original could have been used. This session is suspended.
I do not agree to the suspension. No, absolutely not.
I would suggest one other thing. If we are having a hearing on Wednesday, is your client willing to review the transcript and make changes before then?
I don't think so. I mean, you propose 30 days and you're proposing a day.
I'm just stating the obvious. We have a hearing on Wednesday, and it would seem appropriate that if your client is planning to testify on Wednesday, then she should review the transcript beforehand and make any changes.
All right, look, I'm willing to go along with everything except the suspension and to add email as well as fax, and I'll agree to that, but I'm not agreeing to that.
Mr. Harder, are you aware that the hearing in this DVR
Yes,
proceeding
I know that.
is set for this Wednesday?
I am.
Yes. Are you saying you are unwilling to have your client read and review the transcript prior to that hearing?
Well, how much time? It's going to be 7 hours of testimony, which is a huge booklet and a whole lot of documents. And the court reporter, I don't know when she's going to get this turned around because today's a Saturday. I don't know if you're planning on having her work all day today and all day tomorrow on this. When are we going to get that? And I'm not sure what my client's schedule is. So it's a lot of work to have happen in a short period of time.
Well, I would say this.
I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just trying to be practical.
I would say this, which is I heard your co-counsel say that he wanted to get a copy of the transcript tomorrow, assuming that's even humanly possible given the extremely, extremely difficult record that this court reporter had to deal with today. Assuming that's proper, and given the really, really serious nature of this proceeding and the serious nature of the allegations that your client has made, I would expect that she would take the time and whatever her busy schedule might be to review the transcript. And quite frankly, the transcript is not going to be as long as you suggest in terms of testimony, given all of the colloquy, the long objections, the commentary between both sides, frankly. In terms of actual testimony, there's going to be pretty limited.
Most of the text was Amber speaking. Most of the text was Amber speaking. I know, you're going on and on and on. That's what's eating all this up is your long speech.
Eating what up?
I'm not going to agree to a turnaround of, that my client reads it all in a day. I'm not going to agree to that.
It's yes or no, and you just said no. So
I would like to get a copy of the final as soon as you could have it, and if you could do it in 24 hours, that'd be amazing. And I'd like a copy of the video as fast as possible too, 24 hours or whatever you can turn.
So it can be leaked to TMZ?
If that's what you're going to do, then go for it.
No, that's your client.
That's what you guys do.
Really?
All right, I guess we're not going to stipulate. If you want to stipulate to the 30 days and the other stuff that you were proposing, that's fine. But your co-counsel is like trying to change your stipulation. So
No, she is not.
you said 30 days and she said 1 day or 2 days. So I'll go with the 30, but I'm not going to go with the 1 or 2.
We have a hearing this Wednesday, the 17th? The 17th, which is the hearing for these proceedings.
I understand. Okay. Have a good night, everybody.
Are we done?
Yes.
We're done. Thank
This
you.
concludes today's video deposition of Amber Depp. The total number of media used was 4. The time is approximately 7:04 p.m. and we're off the record.
Thanks again, everyone, for watching. I really do appreciate it. Again, if you want, you can like, subscribe, comment, and hit that notification bell. And until next time, if there is a next time, take care.